Two people work at the same company. For 30 years, they sit in similar cubicles, earn almost identical salaries, and contribute to their 401ks. 1. Mark retires at 65 with a portfolio over $1.2 million. He travels, pursues hobbies, and lives without financial stress. The other, David, also retires at 65. He has $88,000. Forced to sell his home, drastically cut his lifestyle, he lives in constant fear of a single medical bill wiping him out. They had the same opportunity, income, and 30 years. The difference wasn't luck or a secret stock tip. It was a handful of rules Mark understood that David never learned. Today, I'll show you exactly what those rules are. More importantly, I'll show you the shocking truth about where you actually stand, because the official numbers are lying to you. The knot you feel in your stomach about retirement is real, a rational response to a terrifying reality. The Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances, a comprehensive look at average financial health, reveals a sobering truth. The median retirement account balance for families approaching retirement, ages 55 to 64, is just $134,000. After a lifetime of work, the typical American has this for a potential 30-year retirement. Using the standard 4% rule, that yields just over $5,000 a year, $446 a month. That's not a retirement, it's a catastrophe. But that's the median. The average mean is much higher, closer to $480,000. Politicians and financial news love this number because it's massively skewed by the ultra-wealthy. A few billionaires pull the average up, making it seem everyone is fine. The median tells the real story. Half of all retirees face a future with almost nothing. Why does this happen to millions of hardworking people like David? Because comfortable retirement isn't just about working hard or earning a high income. It's about understanding a few unspoken rules of money never taught in school. People like Mark follow them. Those who struggle, like David, don't even know the game is being played. Today we pull back the curtain on the 5 unspoken rules determining whether you retire with $1 million or less than $100,000. Rule number 1. You think you're saving, but you're just delaying your spending. This is a fundamental misunderstanding. You get your paycheck, pay bills, and move a few $100s into a, quote, savings account. You feel responsible, seeing the balance grow, thinking, I'm saving for the future. But you're not. That money isn't for your 30-year future self. It's for your short-term needs, the next vacation, a car down payment, an emergency fund. It's a spending buffer, not true saving. Psychologically, true retirement saving requires putting money into a system designed for long-term growth and intentionally difficult to access. Think 401k or IRA. Paperwork and potential early withdrawal penalties are features, not bugs. They create a barrier between your impulsive present-day self and your secure future self. Money in a standard savings account is just one click away from being spent. Consider Anna, who puts $500 a month into a high-yield savings account for 30 years. With an optimistic 1% average interest, she'll have $197,000. This sounds okay, until inflation eats its purchasing power. Now consider Bella. She puts that same $500 a month into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund inside her Roth IRA. Assuming a conservative 8% average annual return, after 30 years, Bella will have $745,000 tax-free. Over $500,000 more, just by choosing the right account. Anna played it safe and fell far behind. Bella understood that true saving is investing, putting your money to work where it grows faster than inflation and is protected from your worst impulses. But investing isn't the whole story. The biggest trap, one you likely don't realize you're falling into, brings us to rule number 2. Rule number 2, Your biggest expense is invisible. Ask anyone their biggest expense. They'll say mortgage, rent, or car payment. They're wrong. Your single biggest lifetime expense is your future self. Money you fail to capture from your rising income, a phenomenon called lifestyle inflation. Here's how it works. You start your career making $50,000, living on $45,000 and saving $5,000. A few years later, a promotion to $70,000. Feeling richer, you move to a nicer apartment, buy a new car, go to more expensive restaurants. Your spending rises to $65,000, still saving $5,000. Your income went up 40%, but your savings rate went down. You're simply running in place. This mechanism is a deep-seated human desire for more. We want to reward ourselves, but this reward comes directly at the expense of our future freedom. The wealthy don't just earn more. They widen the gap between what they earn and what they spend, then invest that difference. Imagine a $5,000 annual raise, about $400 a month extra. Person A sees this and immediately thinks, great, my car payment can go from $300 to $500. They upgrade their car. The money is gone. Person B has a split rule. They take half of every raise, $200 a month, and automatically divert it into their investment account before they can even touch it. The other $200 they use to upgrade their lifestyle. They still feel rewarded, but they've paid their future self first. Over time, if person B gets similar raises yearly for 20 years and sticks to this 50% rule, that raise money alone, invested at 8%, will grow to over $280,000. This is extra money on top of regular savings that person A simply spent. Remember that feeling when you got your last raise? The excitement? Then months later, wondering where it all went? That's lifestyle inflation. The invisible thief stealing your retirement. You've separated savings from spending, fighting lifestyle inflation, putting you ahead of 90%. But a parasite within your investments can still consume a third of your money unnoticed. This leads to rule number 3. Rule number 3, you are paying for advice you didn't ask for. The biggest destroyer of wealth in retirement isn't a stock market crash, it's fees. Hidden, complex, tiny fees silently eating your future. A 1% fee sounds harmless, but over a lifetime of investing, it can cost hundreds of thousands. This mechanism is the brutal, reverse power of compound interest. Compounding works for you. Money earns returns, then those returns earn more returns. A virtuous cycle. Fees do the exact same, but against you. A 1% fee isn't just 1% of your initial investment. It's 1% of your entire growing portfolio, year after year. If the market returns an average 7% and your fund charges a 1% fee, you don't get 6%. That fee eats 1/7, over 14% of your potential growth every single year. Consider Chris and Dana. Both start with $50,000, investing $1,000 a month for 30 years. Both in funds tracking the same index, earning 8% before fees. Chris uses a typical actively managed mutual fund in his 401k, a common default, with a 1.2% expense ratio. Dana, after 30 minutes research, chose a low-cost index fund with a 0.04% expense ratio. After 30 years, Chris, the high-fee investor, will have $1.12 million. He's a millionaire. But Dana? Her portfolio is worth $1.49 million, a difference of $370,000. Dana gained an entire extra comfortable retirement for a second person just by paying attention to fees. That 1% difference cost her nearly a third of her potential wealth. Go look up the expense ratio on every single one of your investments right now. It is the most important number in your financial life. Avoiding high fees is a massive step. But a psychological trap costs people even more. A mistake almost everyone makes when headlines get scary and the market drops. This is rule number 4. Rule number 4. Your fear is more expensive than any crash. Fact. More money has been lost by investors trying to avoid market corrections than in the corrections themselves. This mechanism is baked into our DNA. Behavioral scientists prove humans feel loss twice as strongly as gain. Losing $100 hurts twice as much as finding $100 feels good. This loss aversion makes us terrible investors. When the market falls, our ancient lizard brain screams, "Danger! Get out!" News fills with terrifying headlines. Your portfolio bleeds red. The emotional pressure is immense. You sell. You convert stocks to cash to, quote, stop the bleeding. You feel relief, but you've taken a temporary, on-paper loss and made it permanent. Worse, you face an impossible second decision. When to get back in? Nobody rings a bell at the market bottom. You wait for recovery signs. But by the time news is positive and the market feels quote-unquote safe, you've missed the biggest gains. The biggest up days in market history almost always happen right after the biggest down days. By trying to sidestep the downturn, you miss the recovery. You've successfully sold low and bought high, the exact opposite of investing's goal. Fidelity studied investor accounts. The best returns came from people who forgot they had an account or were dead. They didn't panic sell, they just let the market work. Consider an investor with $100,000 in an S&P 500 index fund at the start of 2008. By the market bottom in March 2009, their portfolio was worth about $50,000, a horrifying drop. Investor A, driven by fear, sells everything at the bottom. They wait for things to feel safe and reinvest in mid-2010. By 2020, their portfolio is worth about $180,000. Investor B does nothing. They feel the fear but ignore it. They just hold on. By 2020, their original $100,000 is worth over $270,000. That single moment of panic cost Investor A $90,000. The market is the only store where, when things go on a 50% off sale, people run out screaming. Your discipline during downturns will impact your final net worth more than your investment genius during good times. We've covered saving, spending, avoiding fees, and conquering fear. But the fifth and final rule ties it all together, explaining why even people doing the first 4 things right can still fall short. Rule number 5, you're using the wrong map. What is your retirement number? For decades, the financial industry sold a simple, powerful, and completely wrong idea, the magic number. Whether $1, $2, or $3 million, it's a marketing gimmick, not a financial plan. Working towards a vague, arbitrary number is like driving from New York to a city out west, Denver or Los Angeles, very different destinations with different requirements. Chasing a magic number is planning to fail. Retirement isn't about a lump sum. It's about generating a sustainable income stream. The real question isn't how much do I need to have, but how much do I need to spend each year in retirement? Once you know that, the math is simple. This is where the 4% rule comes in. It's a guideline. You can safely withdraw 4% of your investment portfolio in your first year of retirement, then adjust for inflation each subsequent year, with a high probability of your money lasting for at least 30 years. So, flip the equation. Instead of asking what your $1 million will give you, ask what portfolio size you need to support your spending. If you budget $60,000 a year for retirement, divide that by 0.04. The answer is 1.5 million. That is your number. It's not a guess. It's a personalized, calculated target based on your life. Let's look at our 2 final people. Person A chases the millionaire dream. They work hard, save, and hit their $1 million goal, retiring feeling successful. But they never calculated actual expenses, which turn out to be $60,000 a year. Their $1 million nest egg can only safely generate $40,000 annually. They face a $20,000 annual shortfall. Their dream retirement quickly turns into a nightmare of cutting back. Person B ignores the millionaire hype. They calculate their ideal retirement will cost $50,000 a year. They divide that by 0.04 and get their true target, $1.25 million. They set their savings rate to hit this specific goal. When they hit it, they know with a high degree of confidence that they have enough. They can retire without fear because they didn't just save, they planned. They used the right map. We started with two colleagues, Mark and David. Same job, same salary, two drastically different futures. The difference wasn't income. It was these 5 rules. David thought his savings account was saving. He let his lifestyle inflate with every raise. He paid a fortune in unquestioned hidden fees. He panicked and sold during the 2008 crash. He chased a vague idea of enough without doing the math. Mark understood saving is investing. He automated savings with every raise. He built his portfolio on low-cost index funds. He ignored fearful headlines and kept buying. He aimed for a specific annual income, knowing the exact portfolio size needed to generate it. One built their future on purpose. The other let it happen by accident. The numbers are clear. The average path leads to financial struggle. But you are not average. You now know the rules, have the map. Your future self is waiting. They'll either look back at today, the day you watch this video, and thank you for taking control, or ask why you didn't. The choice is yours. If this video changed how you think about money, even slightly, hit subscribe. It's the first step